All right, got the microphones working. Everything looks good. Yeah, I think we're good to go. Okay, let's get these things popped open.
Hello, world.
Hold on, my cinematographer's eye doesn't like the fact that that's covering the TV. But yes, hello world. Okay, welcome. This is BitDev's Radio Hour number 10. It's Friday, February 13th. How's it going, Alex?
Going well. Excited to celebrate Valentine's Day on the air with you, Stephen.
Thanks for saying my name in that sentence because I realized I forgot to do the customary, like, I'm so-and-so and I'm here with so-and-so.
Well, my name's Alex. I'm here with somebody,
Steven.
and together we do BitDev's Radio Hour every week on Friday.
Okay, we're broadcasting live from ATL BitLab. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter show. We have kind of a hard cutoff shortly after 5 here. But let's dive right into it and see what we have to talk about this week.
Cool. All right, we got a bunch of cool topics. We're talking about some new BIPs that were merged, some upcoming consensus changes or consensus change proposals. We have some cool Lightning Network updates, more AIs using Bitcoin talk, as well as some cool cryptographic protocol ideas posted. So let's start with our consensus forks and BIPs. So first up, we have BIP 54 consensus cleanup is now activated in Bitcoin Inquisition. So Bitcoin Inquisition is a fork of Bitcoin Core that activates soft forks more aggressively than Bitcoin Core does. So the idea is that it's a testing ground, it's a Signet testing ground for covenants and other future proposals and changes to Bitcoin. So yeah, the Great Consensus Cleanup is a massive project that has been going on in Bitcoin Core for a while. It fixes a bunch of bugs, it cleans up the code base, makes it maintainable for the future, and it is now merged into Inquisition so people can start using this code.
Yeah. Do you run an Inquisition node?
I don't. Do you?
No, I don't.
Do you know anybody that does?
I'm sure I do. I just don't know. I know people that I think probably do, but
Yeah.
I'm curious to try it. Good to see this work being pushed forward.
Ditto. And yeah, they were just on OpTech. I think they were on the OpTech podcast this week talking about it. So
very cool.
Yeah, no, this is good. More exciting stuff happening to Bitcoin. Anything else?
No, I think that's about it. I think we've talked about consensus cleanup on some previous episodes, so we won't dive into it too much else today, other than just to let you know that if you're interested in testing it out, you can download Bitcoin Inquisition.
Cool. Okay, our favorite topic, or it's a recurring theme. We should just maybe carve out a segment to talk about this on every episode, but to talk about BIP 110 and specifically the filter debate.
Yeah, we haven't talked about BIP 110 in a while because it actually had a previous name. It was Reduced Data Temporary Soft Fork.
I think that's the same.
It's the same, but I just mean it was before it was like merged into the BIPs repo. So I think in the time since we've really deep dived into it, just to provide some context for everybody. In the time since we last deep dived into it, it's gone through some edits and stuff, and finally it was actually merged into the BIPs repo. So it's BIP 110 now.
Correct. It was assigned a number. It's official. I mean, it was initially what, BIP 444?
I mean, that was kind of
the self-proclaimed name.
The self-proclaimed.
That wasn't real.
But it's BIP 110 now.
Yeah. So just a couple more notable pieces of data to add to the discussion. Kevin Losak, he works on Liana Wallet. He described in a tweet some specific problems with BIP 110. So specifically what he talks about is that there are existing wallets exist. So Liana Wallet first is a vaulting solution. So they focus on making generational storage wallets that can last 100 years for their users and can only have to be accessed in an emergency or when you're doing inheritance planning, really, and like changing custody when somebody dies. So yeah, he's very long thinking about wallets and how to build these vaults. So he describes an issue with BIP 110 is that one of the things that they talk about in BIP 110 is that there's a 2-week window inside of the BIP carved out for people to upgrade their wallets. But practically in his world, that just that doesn't make any sense. People are putting their money away for years and decades at a time, and it's not going to be able to. He's not confident that people are going to be able to upgrade in that amount of time. In addition, it's really hard to understand how many people are using these opcodes that are going to be disabled currently, because you don't find out that somebody was using the opcode until you spend the money from the vault. You can put money into a vault without ever telling people the opcodes that are necessary to spend from the vault. So just a couple more details from somebody that focuses on custody that has problems with BIP 110.
Yeah, I'm gonna maybe paraphrase that very slightly, at least for my own understanding. So I've never personally used Liana Wallet, but we've talked about it at BitDev's meetups here in Atlanta before, so I'm pretty familiar with it. I guess in my mind, I kind of describe it as like this multi-sig power user wallet. I mean, it's really for like, making vaults that, have more than just 2 of 3 multi-sig. From what I remember, it allows you to make these, rich vaults with really kind of complicated rule sets depending on what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. So somebody could have downloaded the Liana wallet, and in constructing a vault in Liana wallet, they could have created a vault wallet that for its, the script, it would use this opcode, the opif opcode. BIP 110 would disable opif. And so a user could have already created a vault that uses the specific opcode that would be disabled under this soft fork.
Correct.
And it's like, you might say, well, how many people are actually using that? But I think what Kevin's saying here is like, we don't actually know, because if they make a vault and they make a transaction sending into that vault, on chain, you're just going to see like script hash. Like you're not going to, like, that's what actually would compose the actual address. You're not actually going to see the like opcodes that make up that vault address until somebody tries to spend from it. And by that point, if BIP 110, actually happened, you wouldn't really be able to, like, their coins would be unspendable at that point.
Yeah, I think like leading up to this, there's been big discussion on how valid the criticism of BIP 110 is around confiscating coins. Mm-hmm. Like, is this confiscating people's money? And I think some of the advocates of BIP 110 are saying that not many people at all in the ecosystem, other than Inscription users, are using this opcode. But what Kevin is saying is, you don't know all of the people that have money locked up in these wallets, and there's nothing you can do to find out.
I mean, that's the thing, is once you add a feature, I mean, this is also probably a good cautionary tale in terms of adding new features to Bitcoin, and probably a good reason why we're kind of slow to add features. Because if you think about it, if we just add in a new opcode without really taking the time to debate and discuss and vet it properly, and then we decide we want to take it back later, we soft fork an opcode in, and then we decide later that we want to hard fork it out. It's like, well, that's really difficult to do without, being confiscatory.
Yeah.
And so, you don't want to add stuff to Bitcoin that you might want to take back later. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just by the nature of how Bitcoin works, is you don't know who's using a feature until after they spend money from an address.
Yeah.
And that's just a quirk that makes it really hard to undo or to remove features without taking people's money.
Yeah. On the good side, though, there's a privacy benefit to not knowing until they spend.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of positives, but it just makes it harder to remove features.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. One other little update, not really an update, but just Instagibbs is one of the more respected Bitcoin Core contributors, and he tweets, "There's going to be a huge Inscription event at the cusp of BIP 110 activation, isn't there? Sigh." And it's like, absolutely, there's going to be. I call it, fortunately, unfortunately. yeah, people are going to probably use the BIP110 activation time that's scheduled, which I think is sometime in November, as a chance to bring attention to the Ordinals project.
Wow.
So just everybody loses, it sounds like.
Wouldn't that be ironic? The BIP that's meant to fight inscriptions just causes people to make more of them.
Yeah, it is ironic. I mean, another ironic part about this whole debacle is that in the time since the filter debate has started, inscriptions have more or less died off, having nothing to do with core filtering the transactions.
Yeah.
But yeah, just people have lost interest because it is a fad, probably.
Yeah, I think at this point it's very much an emotional thing for many people.
Absolutely.
I thought, real quick, I thought it was funny, Rob Hamilton's comment in the comments there. It says replay protection. So, I mean, that's a funny joke to me because that was like back during the block size wars and, the discussion that would eventually lead to the fork that was Bitcoin Cash. Like replay protection was like, how do you make it so that if a user doesn't accidentally spend their money on both chains or spend the money on the wrong chain or something like that. It's like a similar kind of thing. If you get your inscriptions in before the fork, then you have your inscription on both chains, I guess.
And you can dump the one on the chain that you don't care about and make some money.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, is that actually what he's saying? Like people are going to dump their
I don't. That's the way I interpreted it, but
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe I'm misinterpreting the joke.
Funny.
But yeah, no way to know for sure. But yeah, that would be an interesting result. What InstaGibbs is saying is that if people just started aping into inscriptions because of BIP110.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's enough filter talk.
Yeah.
Let's move on to a more exciting but probably equally contentious debate in Bitcoin right now, talking about quantum and making Bitcoin quantum resistant. A bit of background, the cryptography used inside of Bitcoin is potentially vulnerable to being broken by quantum computers. And there is varying levels of worry amongst the community and varying levels of just like clarity around how big of a true risk quantum computers are, or there's a very level of confidence in people as to the true threats and if quantum computers have any chance at actually succeeding at breaking cryptography like they theoretically could. So there's been a few BIPs that people have been working on to create quantum resistant addresses theoretically. And the one I think has gotten the most attention is BIP 360. So this has finally been assigned a BIP number. So it is official, BIP 360. Pay to Merkle root, previously named Pay to Quantum Resistant Hash.
Authors Hunter Beast, Ethan Heilman, and Isabel Fox and Duke.
Yeah, congratulations to them. They've been working on this for a while. What have you learned about BIP 360? How does it actually work?
I mean, you probably know more about it than me, honestly. I thought that, now tell me if I'm wrong here, I thought that there was like basically 4 different cryptographic schemes that it was going to enable. Because the way I understood it was when we think about cryptography that is resistant to quantum computers, like they all kind of have different trade-offs in terms of like the size of the signature and all that. And so like I think this one was just supposed to add 4 of them, right?
So that was the initial proposal of the BIP.
Okay.
So the initial proposal of making a pay to quantum resistant hash address kind was we're going to take some quantum resistant cryptography, some new cryptography that's not in Bitcoin currently, and then we're going to make an address kind that is enforced by this new cryptography. This was the initial idea. Criticisms of this, it's very hard to pick one of these which cryptographic scheme to select for Bitcoin because a lot of these are pretty new. So in order to de-risk the idea of picking a bad protocol or one that's actually not protected, the BIP initially said, okay, we're going to pick 3 or 4 different cryptographic protocols and kind of staple them together. And the hope is at least one will stay secure over time to quantum resistant things or quantum computers cracking it. So this is no longer what the BIP is. That was a terrible idea, or people criticize that idea because it would create addresses and transactions that are roughly like 1,000 times as large and very, very inefficient to verify. So the new BIP 360, which has just been ratified, is going to add a new address kind that's very similar to Taproot. It's basically just Taproot, but in that you have the whole tap tree, except that with Taproot, you first take a key and then tweak the key with a Merkle root containing the tap tree, and this one is just going to hash the Merkle root itself and then use that as an address. So you just don't do the key tweaking at the end. So you remove the key path from Taproots, and that is pay to Merkle roots.
I see. That makes sense. Yeah, this looks like this has changed a lot since the last time I looked at it, and that makes sense. You don't commit. I'm reading it on my screen right now. So if you just remove the key path spend, that's the one that's primarily quantum vulnerable, and so you just have the whole tap tree then.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, there's no public key on chain. You have to, in order to break this, you would have to break a hash. Whereas with just normal Taproot, you just reverse the public key and you can get the private key, and then you can spend from Taproot addresses.
But maybe this is where I'm brushing up against the limits of my knowledge a little bit. I mean, would we still this would? So just anything that uses Taproot would be safe.
No. So with Taproot, there's always a key path.
Okay, I shouldn't say Taproot. My bad. I more meant in a Merkle tree,
So how can you spend from a Merkle tree today?
I mean, you need a path through the tree.
Correct. So with all Taproot addresses, there is a key path and a script path.
Yep.
You can use the script path, but there's no way to disable the key path.
Yeah.
So even if you have a spending condition inside of the script path, you're still vulnerable to somebody breaking your key and then using the key path.
And does this still use Schnorr?
No, it doesn't. Well, I think the script uses Schnorr, but it's not a Schnorr key at the end. You don't have, so like Taproot is two things stapled together. It's a key tweaked with a Merkle tree, or like a Merkle root. And then you can have spending conditions inside the Merkle tree, or you can just spend from the key directly. This is getting rid of that key. So you just have the Merkle tree.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, that's interesting. Wow, I need to read this one a little more deeply.
It's interesting. I think it's a good idea. It stops some threats of quantum computers. I think they talk about these long-range quantum attacks where a laboratory could spend all of their efforts cracking a single key over a long period of time and then steal the money after putting in effort. That this is like the long-term or the long-range quantum attack. There's also short-range attacks that this doesn't address. Like the short-range attack is where if you sign a transaction, publish it to the mempool, in the time that it takes your transaction to get confirmed, theoretically, a quantum computer could break your signature, get the private key, and then RBF the transaction to steal your money that way. But that's a different class of threats. So
yeah. But yeah, so this is fascinating. So it's almost like you're paid a Merkle root. You're just like you need to provide a Merkle root, like a path through the tree, and you don't actually need to provide a signature.
I think the spend conditions still have a signature in it at the end. So one of the criticisms, actually, this is a nice segue. There are some criticisms of this BIP that, for example, Floppy posted that BIP 360 does nothing to address quantum computing concerns, and everybody's celebrating this BIP document being merged into the repository. He's being a bit cynical, it doesn't. Yeah, so Alex Leishman on Delving Bitcoin commented that, he suggested that this doesn't actually address the quantum concerns. It just fixes a potential weakness in Taproot addresses. So, yeah, it doesn't really solve the problem permanently because you still have to use Schnorr keys to sign transactions inside of the tap leaves, but it removes this vulnerability in Taproot addresses that they can all be, they all have like a key path there that's just waiting to be exploited. So I don't know. I don't agree with him that it does nothing to address the concerns. It addresses the lowest hanging fruit concerned.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. It addresses just the key path spin vulnerability. And it's like, that's, at least that's fixable in a, somewhat simple way.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, more work to be done in that area.
Yeah, we'll see if there's also BIP 361 that got merged, but I haven't done very much research into this yet. It's another quantum proposal. Here we go. New BIP number assignments as well. BIP 361, post-quantum mitigation and legacy signature sunset.
Migration.
Sorry, post-quantum migration and legacy signature sunset. So this is a much more aggressive proposal. It's a much more dramatic change. It's not just a new address kind that can protect your coins. It's actually suggesting effectively burning Satoshi's coins. So.
Yeah, Jameson Lopp's proposal, I think.
Yep. Yeah, this one's much more controversial.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, what this addresses is the threat. When Bitcoin first came out, there was only one address kind, and it was called pay to pub key. So how it worked is you put the pub key directly into a transaction that you wanted to send money to, and if you have the private key, you could produce a signature and spend the money. Since then, we have much more efficient kinds of addresses, like pay to pub key hash, or pay to script hash, or pay to taproot, and you don't have raw pub keys, but there's still a bunch of Satoshi's Bitcoins that are inside of these pay to pub key addresses.
Yeah, and I mean, for the block reward was 50 Bitcoin per block in those days. So, I mean, some of the the OG paid public key addresses, they're not only the most vulnerable to quantum computers, they're also the ones that have the most coins in them.
Yep.
Oh, here, rotate that up. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, they're like the most vulnerable, and I guess the idea behind that is that if a bunch of these coins addresses got hacked and then these coins got sold on the public market, it would cause the price to tank. And it's like, we don't like to think of ourselves as being concerned about price because it's like, oh, it's freedom money and all of that. But if the price did just absolutely tank, think about the security budget, or think about the chaos that would cause. That's kind of the argument that I hear in favor of that approach.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this debate is assuming that quantum computers make progress and assuming that, that we reverse signatures. This is going to be the most direct impact to Bitcoin first. So yeah, we'll see. Assuming quantum computers continue to make progress, then this will become a much more heated debate. Right now, it's mainly the debate is between the people that think quantum computers have the potential of breaking cryptography in our lifetime and the people that don't. I'm generalizing, but yeah, those are frankly the two sides of the debate. It's the people that take the quantum threat seriously and the people that don't. So
I would subdivide that further. There's the people who take the quantum threat seriously and the people who don't. And then even within the category of people who take the quantum threat seriously or think we should plan for it, then there is still disagreement over should those coins be confiscated or burned.
Yeah, what to do about it, given that it's real.
Yeah, some people would just take a hard stance of no, never, ever. Because that's the thing is for me, when I start thinking about BIP 110, I think about well, that's going to lock off coins that are locked up.
Yep.
And that's confiscatory. And so it's hard for me to criticize that and also want to support burning Satoshi's coins in the in the same podcast episode. It'd be really difficult for me because there would be a contradiction there in ethics, I think. But I can steel man the other side. It really is it's one of those things that if you take that threat seriously and let's just say hypothetically Q day is about to happen, then it's then it's like, wow, what do you do? If you know Q Day is about to happen, and you think we all have the power to do something about this, do you do something about it? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So where do you sit?
I think I probably, like I said, for logical consistency, I think I probably stand on the side of, let the coins get stolen. I think I actually, if there was another proposal called that I think Hunter was also involved with, called the Hourglass proposal, that was kind of like basically limit the amount of those like pay to public key coins that can be spent per block, and so it makes like a slow drip, so that way someone who like reverse engineers the public key, they can't
steal multiple addresses quickly.
They can't steal multiple addresses and just drain them all quickly. And then the thing that would also be interesting is, because there can only be one per block, it incentivizes you to tip your hand and go ahead and steal the coins now. Because if you if you are worried that there can only be one per block, then if somebody else had a quantum computer, assuming you're not the only one, then they would want to get their transaction into that block. So it actually incentivizes you to steal it, but it does it in this very slow, controlled way that lessens the flow of stolen coins onto the public market. And also it actually lets everybody know that, okay, Q-Day's here, now we know, and now we can do something about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's attacking the problem from two different angles.
Yeah.
I think it's Mike Casey's protocol is the Hourglass one.
Oh yeah, you're right. I think you worked on that too.
Yeah, which also he works. I don't know if he still works there, but at Anduril.
Yeah.
Which is also funding
Mara. Yeah.
So yeah, that's right. Mara, which is funding Hunter B's research as well. Anywho, it's all interesting.
Cool. Where should we go next?
Back to filters. Just kidding. Let's talk about Lightning Network. So when I was first getting into Bitcoin, what got me super excited was a bunch of hype around Lightning, and that's slowed down a bit. But this update from Voltage is reminding me of the good old days of getting excited about Lightning. So what's going on with Voltage, Stephen?
Yeah, Voltage announced on Twitter over the other day that they settled $1 million over the Lightning Network.
Whoa.
The first publicly reported $1 million Lightning transaction between Kraken, FX, and SD markets, secure digital markets, took 0.47 seconds. So I think it's a shift in narrative for Lightning, because it always has been about micropayments, or that's the way a lot of people like to talk about it. It's like, oh, well, you use on-chain when you need to buy something big, you buy the cup of coffee with Lightning. So it's always been kind of framed that way. But it's certainly not. I think when you think about it, when you look at this, secure digital markets and Kraken, they're both different crypto exchanges, and it's like crypto exchanges have to do a ton of volume every single day, and exchanges are not always going to be they're going to have to settle volume between each other, because you might have an exchange in one country, and then an exchange in another country, and maybe it's cross-border remittances. So you end up with a situation where Bitcoin or whatever assets going between those exchanges frequently. Or it could be an exchange for more retail versus more institutional kinds of stuff. Point is, they do a ton of volume, and it's pretty common for exchanges to be doing business with each other. So it's just like, if you have exchanges on Lightning, they can just completely skip the blockchain and just do it over the Lightning Network. They can do it for a lower fee. They can do it much more quickly, much more efficiently. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, one thing to point out is I think a natural question looking at this is that cool, now that we can do 1 million $1 million Lightning transactions, does that mean that we all can, and is this going to become the norm, and will we see a lot of transactions like this on Lightning?
Well, it's like, can you do it? No, not unless you have $1 million Lightning channel. But are we going to see more of this? Yeah, I think so. I mean, just if you look at the pace at which Voltage has been bringing on enterprise clients to the Lightning Network, I think you're going to see that increase because it's a cost savings and time savings measure. Like when you go look at crypto exchanges. And you go to mempool.space, right? And you click on like the mempool view and you look for the big transactions, the giant blocks in the mempool that take up a lot of space, and you click through them and there'll be these transactions with 1,000 inputs. And those are exchanges either batch processing user payments or they're doing UTXO consolidation and stuff like that. Exchanges pay so much in on-chain fees all the time. So if you can compact that down with Lightning, it makes a lot of sense. So I do think I think you're going to see more of it.
Yeah.
But among institutional players.
Aspirationally, I hope that will happen. One thing just to note, a disclaimer. Yeah, this is a pilot transaction. So effectively it's a stunt, just to show that you can do it. I'm assuming they opened a channel with 13 Bitcoin or something in it to send this single payment between two people and then closed it. So it's not like it was actually going through the same routes that normal payments go through.
Doesn't need to.
It doesn't need to.
That's the thing is that everyone thinks we get all in a tizzy about the Lightning Network, worrying about finding paths for payments and stuff. And it's you don't need $1 million worth of liquidity to get to any point on the Lightning Network. If you're trying to send $1 million, you're probably trying to send it to someone else, who's kind of similar to you, right? You're an exchange sending to another exchange, or you're a millionaire sending it to a business or another millionaire or something, right? You're not just if you have $1 million on Lightning, you don't need to be able to reach every single pleb node runner on the network. Because why are you sending them? There's not going to be this realistic situation where you need to send $1 million to every single node on the network. So the fact that it's a very carefully constructed thing between two exchanges is even more evidence. You get to be flexible with Lightning and use it in the way you want it. And so if you're a big institution, you can open Lightning channels with other exchanges and businesses you do a lot of volume with. And that makes sense at the enterprise level. Obviously, users don't want to worry about that stuff. And so for users, I'm more in favor of just behind the scenes Lightning service providers. At Money Dev Kit, we don't talk about channels at all for users. We barely even use the word Bitcoin. They get a Lightning channel from us, but they're not even aware of it. So it's just two different ways of existing.
Cool. Yeah, I mean the only counter argument against what you're talking about is that if you're gonna open a direct channel to your partner, then why not just send the money on chain directly? If you're gonna send them a one-time $1 million payment over Lightning, why not just send it to them on chain? Unless you're gonna have a lot of activity where you send it back and forth.
It's implied. Sorry, I thought that was kind of implied. Yes, the idea is there is going to be a lot of activity. So I mean, in terms of that being an arranged stunt, I can't comment on that. But my overall thesis that exchanges do a lot of volume between each other. Yes, you would want a Lightning channel so that instead of sending on-chain transactions back and forth between Kraken and secure digital markets, it makes more sense to just have a Lightning channel and you're just kind of shifting the balance across that channel as things change. So yeah, I mean, if it's a one-time payment, do it on chain. But if you anticipate the need for more, then do it off chain. And that's the thing is these big companies should just all have Lightning channels between each other, so that kind of a little enterprise ring of fire, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. Very excited that Lightning is getting more attention these days. Cool. All right, want to talk about BitHums or ByThumb?
Yeah, I feel like one of these things happens once a year. We're actually up on the Guardian. I can't believe we're pulling up a Guardian article on BitDevs. Yeah. Oh man, thanks Guardian. Thanks for sponsoring the show, the Guardian. It's really cool of you to support Freedom Technology and Bitcoin open source software. So yeah, this article, South Korean crypto exchange races to recover $40 billion of Bitcoin sent to customers by mistake. BitHome has apologized for a staff error that sent customers 620,000 Bitcoins instead of 620,000 Korean won, equivalent to a few hundred, I think they made a typo there, equivalent to a few hundred US dollars. Oh, I see. So the 620,000 Korean won is equivalent to a few hundred US dollars.
Correct. They meant to pay somebody, a few $100, and they accidentally sent them.
No, this was multiple customers.
I think it's aggregate. So they meant to send customers a few $100 in aggregate, and they accidentally sent $40 billion of Bitcoin in aggregate.
Yeah.
Big oopsie.
So these were prize amounts. Says it occurred on February 6th. They were entering prize amounts in Bitcoin rather than Korean won. The plan had been to send a total of 620,000 won, that's $423, to 695 qualifying customers, but the employee instead sent 620,000 Bitcoins. Of those eligible, 249 opened their prize boxes and received their reward, equivalent to roughly 14 times more Bitcoin than the exchange owned. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so at a service level, it says that, 249 opened their prize boxes, received their reward, equivalent to roughly 14 times more Bitcoin than the exchange owns. So that means no money actually moved. It's just that they were credited, their accounts were credited with all of this money.
Yeah, but so I think it's worth going deeper to the next paragraph. BitHome said it corrected 99.7% of the erroneous credits by reversing internal ledger entries and issued an apology. However, 86 customers sold about 1,788 Bitcoins in the 35 minutes before the exchange froze the affected accounts, financial authorities said, triggering a brief price drop on its platform. Some had been withdrawn to personal bank accounts, and some was used to buy other cryptocurrencies, according to local media. So basically, they credited all of the accounts, like you said, via internal ledger entries with an amount of Bitcoin that exceeded the amount of Bitcoin that they actually owned. Now, about 600, it was supposed to be like close to 700 people, only about 200 plus people opened the prize reward thing to claim it. They realized the error in time to reverse 99.7% of the erroneous credits. However, the other 0.03% of people noticed it in time and either used the Bitcoin to buy other cryptocurrencies or sold it for cash and withdrew it to their bank accounts. So even though it's not like the platform was drained of $40 billion worth of, even it wasn't that they were drained of all of those Bitcoins. It's that even though it was more than they had, still 1,700 of them made it actually into people's hands.
Yeah, just quick maths. They didn't actually lose $40 billion. They lost $123 million.
Still a lot of money.
Still a lot of money. Still a big oopsie.
Yeah. I like this line. The exchange is now holding what it described as, quote, one-on-one persuasion talks with roughly 80 customers who cashed out, asking them to return the won equivalent voluntarily. It's reportedly seeking to avoid civil lawsuits where courts could, under civil law, order the return of the original asset rather than its cash equivalent.
Yeah, that's tough.
So they're having one-on-one talks with them. They're like,
please, please, please.
Like, we don't want to take this to court. Please give it back to us.
Pretty, please. But I wonder if the law's even on their side. If you accidentally award somebody more than you wanted to in a gift, then
I'm sure it is. I'm sure they have a bigger, big enough legal team to be able to force a return. And that's the thing. They just have to dangle that over their head as kind of like a thread, I think, of you're going to owe us the original amount in Bitcoin, not the equivalent in won.
I see.
So they're saying we just want you to give us the equivalent amount in won back. We don't, but if they, if this turns into a civil lawsuit, then the Bitcoin price rises and those people could be fucked.
Yeah.
So they should be cool about it. But.
Crazy. Okay, so this stuff is still happening, even in 2026.
There should just be like some kind of like back-end system check that's like anytime it sees,
Yeah, you would think that there'd be some safeguards to prevent things like this from happening. I would hope that most exchanges do have these things in place.
But I guess to go back, so it's like it's like it because it happened at the crediting level, it was like that. I guess that's why it slipped by.
Yeah, like this was not the employees having access to the Bitcoin keys and then sending money to these people. This was them having access to the database to award a prize, and then they fat fingered the prize amount. So
let's see. YNNIV commented in the chat, a thin sheet of paper Bitcoin between them and a Knight Capital situation.
Who's Knight Capital?
I don't know.
Let's find out. So in 2012, there was a Nightmare spelled with a K trading error where a software glitch caused a $440 million loss in 45 minutes. So by magnitude, it's about a third of the size of the Nightmare trading error.
And this resulted in the firm's acquisition by Getco LLC in 2013, later becoming part of Virtua Financial. So
very similar.
A little keystroke error results in you going bankrupt and getting acquired by another company.
Oopsie. Man, I hate Mondays. Cool. We don't have a ton of time left. Let's move on to AI. So.
Yeah, that sounds good. We can zip through some of that. So obviously, we talked about OpenClaw 2 Fridays ago, and I think we're both having a lot of fun with that. Agentic Payments has taken the tech world by storm. Everybody's launching shitcoins with their OpenClaw bots and all that. What's going on in the Bitcoin world, though?
Yeah, so last week we actually looked at a tweet from Elizabeth Stark that I don't have on hand. Elizabeth Stark is the CEO of Lightning Labs, the creator of the most popular Lightning node implementation in the world called LND. And she announced to the world that Lightning Labs is creating a set of tools for agents to use the L402 protocol and LND more effectively. And a couple days ago, they announced what they've been working on. So now Lightning Labs tweets, AI agents can write code, send emails, and make phone calls, but can they still transact? Today we're fixing that, releasing a new set of tools that give agents native access to the Lightning Network, LNGET for L402 payments, MCP for node operations, remote signing for key isolation, and scope credentials for spending controls. The machine payable web starts now, and Bitcoin makes it possible. So they're not the first to create agentic tooling. MDK notably tweeted and responded to Elizabeth Stark that their tools were already production ready. So. But this is pretty cool. So LND has, really dominated the node running world for all of Lightning's history. And now we have MCP tools that do a bunch of things, including Lightning node management, credential management. We have remote control tooling, Aperture, and then finally some high-level orchestration tooling for running a store. So to me, this seems like just all of the kinds of things that LND and Lightning Labs has built, just kind of wrapped into a set of skills for agents. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree. I'd say that's about it. I mean, it's like, for anyone who has been following the OpenClaw world, I mean, skills are basically just text documents. And, this kind of, started, I guess, with like Claude Code, where it's like you could have a Claude MD file and put, notes for how to interact with the code base for an agent. And it's really kind of exploded from there with everyone having different ways of feeding documentation to their agents. And, there's many different kind of standards and systems for doing that. OpenClaw is these things called skills. They're just little markdown text files. And I mean, all a skill really is you just put a bunch of documentation for how to do something and you kind of name it with, something, a reasonable name, and then the agent's able to use the skill whenever it needs. People have how to use Twitter skills and how to use Nostr skills, and now there's how to do everything Lightning Labs skill. So We have one to help it set up its own Lightning node and do all of that, and then some other one for how to make an MCP server so that the agent can just talk directly to the node that way. So yeah, I mean, I think it's useful stuff. I don't want to understate it or overstate it. It's like at the end of the day, these are basically just like documentation files put in a format that OpenClaw agents can consume very easily. But it's a needed thing. If you want agents to be able to use LND, then you got to give them the right documentation for it.
Yep. Yep.
So it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, one just thing noteworthy, like this wouldn't be very helpful for just like Claude Code normally for like doing payments things. Like in order to use this toolkit, you have to be able to spin up a Lightning node yourself on the same server that your machine is running, probably.
Yeah, I think. But that's what I mean is it's documentation for how the agent can set up its own Lightning node.
Yeah.
And if you're running an OpenClaw, then I didn't mean to imply that this would be useful for Claude Code. I was just giving background context for people who don't really follow the AI stuff as much, that all skills are just this evolution and this, whole experiment with making documentation for agents.
Yeah.
Claude.md was my first experience with that, but this is meant for agents that kind of either live on a home computer or live on a cloud server or whatever, but it's like assuming that this agent has kind of access to the computer that it's living on.
Yep. So on a related note, we have Magnolia. So Magnolia is a startup run by Harsha, or started by Harsha, and he's been hard at work, heads down working for the past year or so on infrastructure for bridging the gap between the traditional finance world and the Bitcoin world. So he has two announcements. The first is that Magnolia's services are now shipping. So you can have subscriptions to Bitcoin in an app. You can have stablecoin or fiat disbursements inside of an app. You can have loans. You can have non-custodial Lightning on-ramps in every state in the country. So that's super cool. But on a more related note, he also announced this thing called Clawbot.cash, which has a phenomenal looking website. He tweeted that AI agents can now create their own bank accounts. So not just transacting on the Bitcoin world, but transacting on the fiat world too. And there's this gorgeous website. But if we dig a bit deeper, we can see that it's architecturally very similar to the Lightning Labs announcement. Basically, they have a service, and then they expose that service through skills to the agent.
Yeah. And in this case here, it's Magnolia Financial /Banking MCP. So, you can give your agent access to be able to talk to the Magnolia platform via MCP. I thought this one was interesting and worthy of inclusion. For one, it's obviously not very interesting at the protocol level, but I think services like Magnolia are kind of needed when you're running a business. I always use ATL BitLab as an example because we have to pay bills and fiat for the lab to exist, but obviously we support Bitcoin as like a Bitcoin open source hackerspace. So there's always needs for services that kind of, seamlessly swap between the two. Strike has always been, kind of like the dominant player in that space that I can think of from a business perspective, but Magnolia is, another player now, and I think that's really cool. The other reason I thought this was interesting, though, is just like the whole agent-related discussion has always been, well, agents are going to prefer crypto because it's like native computer money. And honestly, I always kind of called bullshit on that because I was kind of like, no, you're just going to give the agent access to the Stripe API and it will use credit cards like everybody else. Like even as a Bitcoiner, I never fell for that. And then, at Money Dev Kit, we've been having this conversation that the agents actually have a lot of difficult time using credit cards because there's so much bot prevention stuff. So right now the agents are actually able to use Money Dev Kit quicker than they can a Stripe account. But then Magnolia is launching bank accounts for agents, and I mean, obviously that's not as cool. You have to like KYC and all that kind of stuff. But it's kind of like swinging the pendulum back to the other degree of the narrative. It's like you have all these like kind of legacy companies that are very like locked down, and they're not really friendly to agents. But you know, it only took like like 2 weeks for someone to be like, let's change that.
Yeah. I'm super fascinated to see how this plays out. If you had asked me if I thought this was like legal or like possible a week ago, I would have thought that it would be very hard for a company to get away with this. But now that they're doing it, I can see that's not the case. So,
I mean, the thing is, there's nothing illegal about it because, they're still KYCing a human being. Before you can use this, there's a KYC flow for the human being. But they're just making it way easier for the agent to like say, hey, I want to open the bank account. Human, can you KYC me? This is, legally your bank account. And it's also, having an MCP server so the agent can access it more easily. You can already go to like fintech services today and make an API key and give it to your agent, right? Like,
yeah,
that isn't new. They're just kind of marketing it, positioning it that way, making an MCP server that makes it super easy for agents to do that, kind of building in a flow where the agent can, request KYC from a human.
Yeah, like I love Harsha. I love what he's doing with Magnolia. Not gonna lie, this terrifies me.
Yeah.
The idea of giving an agent unfettered access to send ACH payments on my behalf, like tied to my identity.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, one of the big discussions around OpenClaw and just these like personal assistant agents is just like the disgusting security vulnerability that like just it is inherently. And until we get those concerns sorted out, like the idea of just of giving my personal bank accounts to my agent to act on my behalf is terrifying to me. So
more terrifying than giving it access to Bitcoin.
Its own Bitcoin, but like the thing is like you have to KYC as a human first,
sure.
So your name and identity is tied to this bank account, like versus it can be completely like separate. So yeah, I think this is meaningfully different.
Yeah, well, and that might be good feedback for Harsha. The way I would see that working is, for one, I would treat this, were I to use such a service, I would treat it as like an agent bank account. Because I think it'd be cool if there was a way that I could receive Bitcoin and then have it go into a bank account. That would be really cool.
Sure.
And I would treat it as like the agent's bank account, not like the business's primary bank account. And also, like what you could do is you could handle it at the API level. So like design the permissioning in the API in a way to where you could say like, this API key can only do these kinds of transactions. Like this API key is capable of like this API key can check balances and it can initiate transfers to like people that are in your list of trusted contacts or something. It's not capable of fetching the account and routing number though.
Yeah, like I can imagine this in the future being hardened and made like actually safe. But just now in the wild, wild west that is OpenClaw today, where everybody's vulnerable to everything, and yeah, it scares the hell out of me. Yeah. So, yeah, more power to Harsha for shipping quickly. Yeah, it's quite. I'd say tread with caution if you're thinking about giving away your actual KYC bank account or an actual KYC bank account to an agent today.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Should we hit? Maybe we're kind of running out of time here. I was going to say I think that stuff's maybe too deep for today. But is there anything else on the agent front?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that eCash thing?
Sure. This is quick. So Callie is the author of the Cashew Protocol, prolific hacker in Bitcoin.
And now Clawi.
And now his recent project is Clawi, CLAWI, which is a cloud-hosted instance of OpenClaw. So it's very easy to set up, but for like $30 a month or something, or maybe it's more than that, but for just some monthly fee, he will run all of the hard parts of your OpenClaw bot for you. Because he has a natural crossover between now the agent world and the Cashew world, him being the author of it and all. So it looks like there's some Cashew agentic tooling out there, and he just received a random tip from an agent to his agents and tweeted about it, which is pretty freaking cool. So yeah, I think this is just evidence that agent payments actually work. Spontaneous agent payments actually work.
Yeah. I think so. We're looking at three different ways to kind of get payments happening between agents here. I mean, we have the Lightning approach or the Lightning native approach, and you have options in there like now all the L&D tooling that Lightning Labs launched. You've got the Money Dev Kit side of that. Then there's this other approach of let's just do more like kind of permissioned banking platforms, Magnolia, use Bitcoin stablecoins and like actual real bank accounts. And then you have the other approach of just like, let's use eCash and all of that. So Bitcoiners are inventing many, many different ways of agentic payments. But we're not alone. I mean, the whole crypto ecosystem is going wild and everybody wants their agent to use their Solana token.
Yeah, we're not unique in the brilliant idea of agents having an economy and thinking that we have a good solution. The reality is this is an idea, this is kind of like an obvious thing to everybody paying attention to agents, is that like an economy can emerge, and it's just a matter of figuring out a good way to do that. So we'll see what ends up proliferating and what doesn't. But yeah, everybody and their mother is suggesting a new payment protocol for agents.
Well, that kind of segues into something that I think might be a good thing to end on.
Yep.
If you can give me a second to just pull it up on my screen so I can at least read it here. Yeah, so this is a post I'm looking at here on X from Matt Corallo. Well, he's actually kind of like responding, reposting something that Kali said. USD, and Kali was saying USDC on Base seems far more common for 402 payments now than Bitcoin. Recently, even Stripe joined the bandwagon. That's a centralized stablecoin on a permission chain. Agents are starting to use fiat. It's a huge loss, and in a race, many aren't even aware that it exists. The scam coins are marching on, and even fiat is evolving. Where are the Bitcoin solutions that attract real users? Which other concept other than buying and selling Bitcoin has actually broken out of the bubble and made it to the mainstream? Bitcoin doesn't just happen. These missing solutions need to be built by someone. Reject the Bitcoin wins by hodling narrative. The devs and entrepreneurs will keep this project alive and keep marching forward. I'm going to cut that off there, but I thought Matt's kind of repost of that was inspiring. He says, it's time for Bitcoiners to step up and build. You don't need to know anything about software development anymore. You just need to know how to write words. We have a golden opportunity to build out agentic payments based on open money, rather than letting agentic payments be captured by megacorps yet again. But we're squandering it arguing about useless crap instead of building. Play with OpenClaw, give it a Bitcoin wallet. Money Dev Kit makes it super easy. Also Lexi and Phoenix D, and make it do things. If it fails to do what you want, go fix it. Have your agent build that Bitcoin domain reseller, that Bitcoin airline ticket reseller, whatever it is you want. Bitcoin doesn't just happen, it's built. Join in.
Rah, rah.
And I think, yeah, that should be inspiring. It should get everyone excited to build on Bitcoin. And, for, people who lack context and don't hang out at BitDevs meetups often, Matt Corallo is a 10th known contributor to Bitcoin Core, now works on Lightning Dev Kit, cracked Bitcoin Lightning Dev, and powerful words. You don't need to know anything about software development anymore. You just need to know how to write words.
It's empowering.
I mean, like from an engineer like Matt to just say you don't even need to know about software development anymore. You just need to know how to write words. Now I'll qualify a little bit of what he's saying there. Obviously at the protocol level, there's a ton of deep stuff that we want humans in the loop on. But if you just want to build products and services, like you don't need to be a super technical person anymore. You just need to be able to work with an AI. And this is definitely where the puck is going. If we want to skate to it, we can do that. But to do that, we have to start building products that people actually want to use, that brings value into their lives. We can't just make like fun inside jokes for other Bitcoiners anymore. Like, hey, you're my friend, you're in the know, ha, you got it. Like, no, we need to actually build products that people want to use. So yeah, now's the time.
It's empowering. Yeah, I mean, maybe you kind of need some expertise to build the stuff that Matt makes, to build the infrastructure, but to solve the little problem of like, oh, the tooling doesn't do that quite yet. Like anybody can do that. So long as you can describe the problem to your bots, the bot can do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So yeah, very exciting, very empowering.
Well, cool. Anything else? We probably need to wrap up here. Any final comments before we wrap up the show for the day?
No, that's good. We can save the cool cryptography stuff till next time.
Yeah, we can go deeper at that at the next Socratic seminar and then report back for the Friday live stream. Okay, well, thanks for listening, everybody. Actually, real quick before we wrap up, I think we got a boost.
No freaking way.
Yeah, way. So I'm on fountain.fm here. So actually, we got a couple boosts. Oh, actually, last time we got one from a user 4170. I still don't have a name for that person. But after the last show, we got 1,000 from Anonymous. They said sick show. Thank you, Anonymous. If you want to support what we're doing here, you can go to fountain.fm, search for ATL BitLab, and you can send us a tip in Bitcoin for putting the show together for you. And also, if you are interested in sponsoring the show, if you want to elevate yourself with brands like The Guardian and Harp Logger, we're always accepting sponsors to keep putting the show on every week.
Cool.
So
Yeah, thanks for listening. Tune in next time.
that's a wrap. Have a great weekend, everybody.